Welcome back to the DC World Book Reviews. I'm your host, Tristyn Scott, and these are all the books that I read in February 2024. The first book that I finished this month was The Tyrants' Tomb by Riordan, and it's the fifth book in the Trials of Apollo series. I rated this 4 stars because, while I really did enjoy this book, I think that my bias towards adult books now, since I am a older teenager, I turned 17 last December, I think that has kind of skewed, and if I was still in middle school, that this book would have been 5 stars for me. I think it's just because I'm older and I'm more used to adult books now, but nonetheless, Rick Riordan has hit the nail on the head once again. I adore his books so much. The second book that I finished this month was All I Wanted Was to Become a Rocket Scientist, but Now I've Got an Alien Boyfriend Instead, and it is the second book in the Bubble Babe series by Petra Palerno. I rated this 4 stars because, like with the other book, I just like with its previous, what's the word I'm looking for? With its predecessor, I just wasn't quite sure about everything. One of my favorite moments is that Grayeth does disrespect Jessie's boundaries, and she gets rightfully mad at him. And she isn't villainized for it. Loved that part. Absolutely loved that part. And especially since Jessie, the main character, the redhead on the front, is autistic. It is so important to me that an autistic woman at that had her boundaries respected and that she wasn't villainized for it. I don't know why, but with a lot of neurodivergence in media, I see the neurotypical characters always forcing the neurodivergent characters out of their boundaries in an attempt to integrate them further into society. It's not helping us, it's just making us more anxious and less safe around you. So I was just really happy that she stood by her boundaries. The third book I finished this month was Tales from the Lost Citadel by various authors. I rated this book 5 stars. I love this. It was a high fantasy horror book, and I absolutely loved it. It's a collection of short stories that take place in all the same city, and it's really, really cool. You get to see the different writing styles of so many different authors, and I'm honestly still thinking about some of these stories. The first story is a great opener. The ending is just so good. But I borrowed this book from my coworker, and I cannot recommend it enough, and it goes along with the TTRPG. I will say, unfortunately, this coworker did bring to my attention that it is a canceled project. So there's no more content for it. It's this and the TTRPG, and that's it. There's so many questions that are left unanswered, and I had more questions coming out of it than I had going in, but that's just how you know that something's good and it gets your brain moving. The last book that I finished for February was Misadventures of an Amateur Naturalist by Ceinwen Langley. I am so sorry if I mispronounced your name. It is a historical fiction romance, and it is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I, of course, rated it 5 stars. I'm an absolute sucker for Beauty and the Beast retelling stories. Court of Thorns and Roses was actually my introduction book to romance in 6th or 7th grade. Really shouldn't have been reading that series that young, but who cares? But I really, really enjoyed this book. I read it in one night, got hooked to it. I absolutely adored it so much. But again, I'm an absolute sucker for Beauty and the Beast stories, so I'm probably being very biased right now. And here are the books that I'm looking forward to reading in March. The first one is The Color Purple. I originally wanted to get this in for Black History Month, but I unfortunately finished The Amateur Naturalist on the 29th, so I didn't at literally almost midnight, just have the 29th just have it. I did count it as the 28th in my book journal though, simply because I'm not doing that. But I really, really, really wanted to look forward to reading this. I just could not fit it in. Life got ahead of me. The second book that I'm looking forward to reading in March is The Tower of Nero by Riordan. It is the last book in the Trials of Apollo series, and I am so excited to be done with this series. Not that I didn't enjoy it or I'm forcing myself through it, it's been a while since I finished a series, and I actually started this series a few years back, but I stopped at the Burning Maze because I really did not like what happened in the last part of that book. But I am trudging through now to finish it, because I really, really like Riordan's writing. The third book that I'm looking forward to reading in February is The Poppy War. This book, after I saw its praise on Book Talk and noticed that it wasn't the books that Book Talk usually talks about, I got really interested in it super quickly. I genuinely don't know crap about this book. Don't know anything, so I'm very excited to get into it. And the last book that I'm looking forward to reading this year is Juniper and Thorn. All I know about this book is that it is a gothic horror retelling of a fairy tale. All I know. And I really, really wanted to get into reading more horror. Again, that's why I read The Tales of the Lost Citadel for February. I'm really looking forward to getting back into horror and reading more high fantasy. So with that, thank you for watching and have a great day.